How are you guys doing? Today is Friday, April 22nd, 2022. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to review yesterday's Elite matchups and performances from Thursday, April 21st. And of course, I'm going to preview everything that's going on today as we navigate through the world of sports one day at a time. Taking a look at where we are in the 2022 year, we are still in the first round of the 2021-22 NBA playoffs, as there are still 16 teams that are left competing for that title. Taking a look at what's going on in the MLB, we are in the very beginning of the MLB season as teams are starting to sort themselves out. We are about a week away from the NFL draft as NFL teams are looking to see who the newest addition to their organizations are. In hockey, the season is almost over and we are about a week away from the beginning of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Looking out to see what's going on overseas, European leagues are about 1 month away from ending their seasons as teams are even starting to wrap up their league titles. With that said, taking a look at what happened in the NBA yesterday, starting off in Minneapolis in the Western Conference's 2-7 series, the 7-seed Minnesota Timberwolves hosted the 2-seed Memphis Grizzlies come after both teams came into this matchup tying with a tied series at 1-1 after both teams were able to pick up a win in Memphis. Game 3 would see the Grizzlies beat the Timberwolves 104-95 to take a 2-1 series lead. They would go on to win this game by 9 after they outscored the Timberwolves by 25 points in the fourth quarter alone. Not to mention they outscored the Timberwolves by 11 in the second. On the losing end of this matchup, the 7-seed hometown Minnesota Timberwolves were led in scoring by their starting point guard out of Ohio State, D'Angelo Russell. He finished with 22 points, 5 rebounds, and 8 assists in 39 minutes. He shot 9 for 21 from the field and 4 for 8 from 3. Their elite starting small forward out of Georgia, Anthony Edwards, finished with 19 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 assists in 40 minutes. He shot 6 for 13 from the field, 4 for 9 from 3, and he shot 3 for 6 from the foul line. Their starting point guard, Patrick Beverley, finished with 14 points, 5 assists, 3 steals, and 2 blocks in 34 minutes. Their shooting guard off the bench, Malik Beasley, finished with 11 points in 25 minutes. Their elite starting center, Karl Anthony Towns, would finish with 8 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 blocks in 33 minutes. He shot 3 for 4 from the field and made both of his free throws. Also for the Wolves, their starting power forward, Jared Vanderbilt out of Kentucky, finished with 10 points, 13 rebounds, and 3 steals in 32 minutes. He shot 2 for 8 from the field and 6 for 8 from the foul line. On the winning end of this matchup, the team with the second best record in the NBA, the 2nd-seed Memphis Grizzlies, were led in scoring by their starting shooting guard, Desmond Bane. Bane finished with 26 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 blocks in 40 minutes. He shot 8 for 19 from the field, 7 for 15 from 3, and 3 for 4 from the foul line. Their power forward off the bench, Brandon Clark, finished with 20 points and 8 rebounds in 29 minutes. He shot 6 for 9 from the field and made all 8 of his free throws. Their elite starting point guard, Ja Morant, finished with 16 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, 3 blocks, and 7 turnovers in 41 minutes, as the Grizzlies point guard out of Murray State finished shooting 5 for 18 from the field, 1 for 3 from 3, and he made 5 of his 10 free throws on the night. Their starting small forward, Dylan Brooks out of Oregon, finished with 11 points in 37 minutes. Their point guard off the bench, Tyus Jones, finished with 11 points and 5 rebounds in 14 minutes. With this win, the 2nd-seed Memphis Grizzlies now hold a 2-1 series lead over the 7th-seed Minnesota Timberwolves. With this win, they are now 2 wins away from making it to the second round of the playoffs. With this loss, the Minnesota Timberwolves need to win 3 of the next 4 games in order to make it into the second round. Game 4 will be in Minneapolis. That game will be tomorrow on ESPN. Taking a look at what happened in the second game of the day, the 5th seed in the West, Utah Jazz, hosted the 4th seed Dallas Mavericks. After playing their first games without Luka Doncic, the Dallas Mavericks were able to keep an even series with the Jazz in Dallas before going to Salt Lake City. In this matchup, with the series tied at 1, the Dallas Mavericks would end up beating the Jazz 126-118 to take a 2-1 series lead. They won this game by 8 after they outscored the Jazz by 17 in the first quarter. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown 5-seed Utah Jazz were led in scoring by their elite starting shooting guard out of Louisville, Donovan Mitchell. Mitchell finished with 32 points, 2 rebounds, and 6 assists in 39 minutes. He shot 10 for 21 from the field, 1 for 8 from 3, and 11 for 12 from the free throw line. Their starting small forward, Bojan Bogdanovic, finished with 24 points and 6 rebounds in 32 minutes. He shot 8 for 12 from the field, 4 for 7 from 3, and he made all 4 of his free throws. Their starting point guard, Mike Conley, finished with 21 points and 6 assists as well as 2 steals in 35 minutes. He shot 6 for 14 from the field, 2 for 7 from 3, and 7 for 8 from the foul line. Their elite starting center out of France, Rudy Gobert, finished with 15 points and 7 rebounds in 29 minutes. He shot a perfect 6 for 6 from the field and made all 3 of his free throws. Their point guard off the bench, Jordan Clarkson, had 14 points in 30 minutes. On the winning end of this matchup, the 4-seed Dallas Mavericks without Luka Doncic were led in scoring by their starting point guard out of Villanova, Jalen Brunson. He finished with 31 points and 5 assists in 35 minutes. He shot 12 for 22 from the field and made all 7 of his free throws. The Mavericks starting shooting guard, Spencer Dinwiddie, who started the season with the Wizards, finished with 20 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, and 3 steals as he fouled out in 41 minutes. Dinwiddie shot 6 for 21 from the field and 6 for 7 from the free throw line. Their power forward off the bench, Maxi Kleber, had 17 points in 22 minutes. Their small forward off the bench, Davis Bertans, had 15 points in 14 minutes. Their starting power forward, Dorian Finney-Smith, had 14 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 steals in 47 minutes. Their starting small forward, Reggie Bullock, had 12 points and 6 rebounds in 44 minutes. Their shooting guard off the bench, Josh Green, had 12 points, 6 assists, and 2 steals in 19 minutes. With this win, the 5-seed Dallas Mavericks hold a 2-1 series lead over the 4-seed Utah Jazz. With this win, the Jazz are the 4-seed, the Jazz are the 5-seed. With this win, the Mavericks are 2 wins away from making it into the second round. And with this loss, the Jazz are 3 wins away. They have to win 3 of the next 4 games if they wanted to eliminate the Dallas Mavericks from this point. And then taking a look at the last game that happened yesterday, the 6-seed Denver Nuggets, led by last year's MVP, would host the 3-seed Golden State Warriors, as the Warriors came into this matchup with a 2-0 lead after winning their first 2 games in San Francisco. In Game 3, the Warriors would win it 118-113 to take a 3-0 lead in this series, putting them 1 game away from the second round. They won this game by 5 after they outscored the Nuggets by 8 in the second quarter. They were up by 10 at the half. Going into the fourth quarter, trailing by 2, they outscored the Nuggets by 7 in that final quarter. On the losing end of this matchup, the 6-seed Denver Nuggets, in front of their hometown fans, were led out by their elite starting center, Nikola Jokic. He would lead the entire game in scoring as he had 37 points, 18 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, and 5 turnovers in 38 minutes. He shot 14 for 22 from the field, 2 for 3 from 3, and 7 for 9 from the free throw line. The Nuggets starting power forward, Aaron Gordon, would finish with 18 points and 12 rebounds in 34 minutes. He shot 7 for 13 from the field. He made his only 3-pointer, and he shot 3 for 4 from the foul line. The Nuggets starting small forward, Will Barton, had 13 points and 5 assists in 34 minutes. And then their starting power forward, Monte Morris, had 10 points, 6 assists, and 2 steals in 34 minutes. On the winning end of this matchup, the 3rd-seed Golden State Warriors were led in scoring by their starting shooting guard, Jordan Poole, and their go-to starting point guard off the bench, Stephen Curry. Jordan Poole finished with 27 points in 34 minutes. He shot 9 for 13 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3, and 6 for 9 from the free throw line. Their go-to starting point guard, Stephen Curry, finished with 27 points, 3 rebounds, and 6 assists off the bench in 31 minutes. He shot 9 for 17 from the field, 3 for 9 from 3, and 6 for 8 from the free throw line. Their elite starting shooting guard, Klay Thompson, finished with 26 points and 2 blocks in 37 minutes. He shot 10 for 18 from the field and 6 for 13 from 3. Their shooting guard off the bench, Gary Payton II, finished with 11 points in 14 minutes. He would make all 4 of his shots on the day as he went a perfect 3 for 3 from the 3-point line. Their all-star starting small forward, Andrew Wiggins, finished with 9 points and 6 rebounds in 29 minutes. He shot 3 for 6 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3, and 1 for 2 from the free throw line. Their all-star starting power forward and future Hall of Famer Draymond Green finished with 6 points, 5 rebounds, 10 assists, and 2 steals in 35 minutes. Draymond Green shot 2 for 6 from the field, 1 for 3 from 3, and he shot 1 for 4 from the free throw line. With this win, the 3-seed Golden State Warriors now hold a 3-0 series lead over the 6-seed Denver Nuggets. With one more win, they will advance to the second round of the playoffs as they would face off against the winner between the Timberwolves and the Grizzlies. And of course, Game 4 of this matchup will be played in Denver. If they happen to go to Game 5, it will be played 3 days later, but their next game that they have to look forward to is on Sunday. That game is going to be televised on ABC. So that is what the NBA is looking like after yesterday's matchups, as not a single team has been eliminated from the first round yet. But taking a look at what can happen today, starting at 7 o'clock on ESPN, in the Eastern Conference, the 1-seed Miami Heat are going to go to Atlanta to face off against the 8-seed Atlanta Hawks. This comes after the Heat were able to win their very first 2 games of the series. They won their first game in Miami by 24, and they won their second game in Miami by 10. And of course, the Hawks have to win 4 of the next 5 games if they want to make the next round. At 8:30 on ABC in the United Center, the 6-seed Chicago Bulls are going to host the defending champs and the 3-seed Milwaukee Bucks. This comes after the Bulls and Bucks they were each able to pull off a win in Milwaukee. The Bucks won the first game by 7, and the Bulls won the second game by 4. So, of course, the next 2 games are going to be in Chicago, as they've already forced a Game 5. From here on out is a best-of-5 series between these two. And it's going to be the same at 9:30 for the 1-8 matchup out west, as the 8-seed New Orleans Pelicans host the 1st-seed Phoenix Suns, as the Suns are going to be playing without Devin Booker. The Suns enter this matchup having won the first game in Phoenix by 11, and then the Pelicans will win the second game by 11. Games 3 and 4 will be in New Orleans, as they have, of course, forced a Game 5. With the series tied at 1, both teams will have to win 3 of the next 5 games in order to make it into the next round of this series. And that is what the NBA is looking like. Taking a look at what's going on in the MLB, as we are still in the beginning of that season. Taking a look at what happened in Queens, the New York Mets would go on to host the San Francisco Giants. Just to give you a sense of how early it is in the year, the New York Mets would beat the Giants 6-2 to become the first team with 10 wins of the season. This came after they scored 5 runs in the first 3 innings of the game, and they would get 2 of those runs off of home runs. On the losing end of this matchup, the San Francisco Giants were led out by their starting pitcher Anthony DeSclafani. He would allow 5 earned runs off of 9 hits in the 5 innings he pitched. He struck out 4 batters and walked 1, and with this loss, DeSclafani is 0-1. In the Giants' batting lineup, their right fielder Mike Yastrzemski would go 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. He hit his first home run of the season. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown New York Mets were led out by their starting pitcher Carlos Carrasco. Carrasco allowed 2 earned runs off of 4 hits in 7.2 innings pitched. He would strike out 7 batters before getting pulled in the 8th inning. With this win, Carrasco is 1-0. In the Mets batting lineup, their elite designated hitter Francisco Lindor went 3 for 5 with an RBI and 2 runs. He hit his 4th home run of the season. Their elite first baseman Pete Alonso went 2 for 4. And then their left fielder Mark Canha went 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs. Also for the Mets, their shortstop in this game, Luis Guillorme, would go 2 for 3 with a run. With this win, the New York Mets are 10-4. That is the best record in the National League East. Win percentage-wise, the LA Dodgers are the only team that have a better record than the Mets right now. The Mets have won 7 of their last 10 games. At the moment, they hold a 4-game lead over the second-place Atlanta Braves and the third-place Miami Marlins in their division. With this loss, the San Francisco Giants are now 8-5. That is the 4th best record in the National League West, as they've lost 4 of their last 10 games. They trailed the division-leading Los Angeles Dodgers by 1.5 games at the moment. Taking a look at what happened in Cleveland, the Guardians would end up beating the White Sox 6-3 after they did not give the White Sox a single chance to score. The White Sox would bring it to within 1 in the 7th, but the Guardians would score 2 more runs in the 7th and kind of destroy the White Sox hopes of winning. On the losing end of this matchup, the White Sox were led out by their starting pitcher Dylan Cease. Cease allowed 4 earned runs off of 8 hits in the 5.1 innings he pitched. He struck out 3 batters and walked 2, and with his loss, he's now 2-1. In the White Sox batting lineup, their center fielder Luis Robert went 2 for 4. Also, their right fielder Gavin Sheets went 2 for 4 with a run as well. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Cleveland Guardians were led out by their starting pitcher, Zach Plesac. Plesac allowed 2 runs off of 7 hits in 6.2 innings. He would strike out 3 batters and walk 1 before he was pulled before the end of the 7th inning. With this win, Plesac is 1-1. The save would go to their closer, Emmanuel Clase. He allowed no earned runs in the 9th as he picked up his 2nd save of the year. In the Guardians batting lineup, their elite third baseman, Jose Ramirez, went 2 for 5. Their right fielder, Franmil Reyes, went 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs and a run. He hit his first home run of the season. Their first baseman, Josh Naylor, would go 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run as well. With this win, the Cleveland Guardians are 7-5. They are now the sole holders for the best record in the American League Central. They have now won their last 3 games. That is the longest active winning streak in the American League. The only longer winning streak is held by the Brewers and the Padres at the moment. The Cleveland Guardians have won 7 of their last 10 games after losing their first 2 games of the season. They are sitting a full game ahead of the second-place Chicago White Sox at the moment. With this loss, the Chicago White Sox are 6-6. That is the second-best record in the American League Central. They've lost their last 4 games. That is the longest active losing streak in the American League. Only the Cincinnati Reds have a longer active losing streak than the White Sox. The White Sox have lost 5 of their last 10 games, and they are currently sitting a full game behind the division-leading Cleveland Guardians. Taking a look at what happened in Detroit, the Detroit Tigers would host the New York Yankees, and they would shut the Yankees out 3-0 to pick up win number 5. On the losing end, the New York Yankees were led out by their starting pitcher, Jordan Montgomery. Jordan Montgomery would allow 1 earned run off of 3 hits in 6 innings pitched. He would strike out 5 batters and walk 2. With this loss, Jordan Montgomery is 0-1. In the Yankees batting lineup, nobody on their team would finish with more than 1 hit, as that would be attributed to great pitching from the Detroit Tigers. The win on the pitching side for the Tigers would go to Michael Pineda, their starting pitcher. He allowed no earned runs off of 3 hits in the 5 innings that he pitched, as he struck out 2 batters and walked none. With this win, Pineda is 1-0 for Detroit this season. The save would go to the Tigers closer, Gregory Soto. Soto will go on to allow no earned runs in 1.2 innings pitched, as he finished the 8th inning and pitched the entire 9th. He would strike out a batter, and with this save, this is Gregory Soto's 3rd save of the year. In the Tigers batting lineup, their right fielder, Robbie Grossman, went 3 for 3 with an RBI and a run. He was the only player who had more than 1 hit on the day. With this win, the Detroit Tigers are now 5-7. That is the 4th best record in the American League Central. They've won 4 of their last 10 games. They sit 2 full games behind the division-leading Cleveland Guardians at the moment. With this loss, the New York Yankees are now 7-6. They are tied with the Tampa Bay Rays for the 2nd-best record in the American League East. They've lost 5 of their last 10 games as they trail the division-leading Toronto Blue Jays by a full game at the moment. Jumping out to Fenway, the Boston Red Sox hosted the Toronto Blue Jays, and the Blue Jays were able to gain sole control over the American League East yet again, after they were able to beat the Red Sox 3-2 after scoring 2 of their runs in the 3rd inning. They would score all 3 of their runs before the Red Sox scored both of theirs in the bottom of the 9th. The Red Sox would get close, but no cigar. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Boston Red Sox were led out by their starting pitcher, Tanner Houck. Houck allowed 2 earned runs off of 3 hits in the 5 innings that he pitched. He would strike out 4 batters and walk 1. With this loss, Tanner Houck is 1-1 for the Red Sox. Their elite shortstop, Xander Bogaerts, would go 3 for 4 with an RBI in their batting lineup. Their third baseman, Bobby Dahlbeck, would go 2 for 4. On the winning end of this matchup, the Toronto Blue Jays were led out by their starting pitcher, Kevin Gausman. Kevin Gausman would allow 1 earned run off of 7 hits in the 8 innings he pitched, as he struck out 8. With this win, he's now 1-1. The save would end up going to the Blue Jays closer, Jordan Romano, as he allowed 1 earned run off and only 1 hit in the 9th inning as he walked a batter. With this save, he now has 7 on the year. In the Blue Jays batting lineup, their left fielder, Raimel Tapia, their leadoff hitter, would go 2 for 5. Their elite shortstop, Bo Bichette, went 2 for 4 with an RBI. Their elite third baseman, Matt Chapman, would go 3 for 4 with an RBI. With this win, the Toronto Blue Jays are now 8-5. That is the best record in the American League East. They are tied with the Los Angeles Angels for the best record in the American League record-wise. The Toronto Blue Jays have won their last 2 games, and they've won 6 of their last 10. They hold a 1-game lead over the New York Yankees and the Tampa Bay Rays, who are tied for the second-best record in the American League East. With this loss, the Boston Red Sox are 6-7. That is the fourth best record in the American League East, as they've lost their last 2 games. They've lost 5 of their last 10. They sit 2 full games behind the division-leading Toronto Blue Jays. Taking a look now at what happened in Kansas City, the Kansas City Royals hosted the Minnesota Twins. The Twins would end up beating the Royals 1-0 as the lone run came off of a sacrifice fly from Miguel Sano in the second inning. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Kansas City Royals were led out by their starting pitcher and former Cy Young winner Zack Greinke. Zack Greinke allowed 1 earned run off of 6 hits in the 5 innings that he pitched. He would strike out a batter and walk 1, and with this loss, Zack Greinke is 0-1 on the year. In the Royals batting lineup, nobody on the team would have more than 1 hit, as that was attributed to great pitching from the Twins. On the winning end of this matchup, the Twins were led out by their starting pitcher in this matchup, Joe Ryan. Ryan allowed no earned runs and only 2 hits in the 6 innings that he pitched. He would strike out 5 batters and walk 1. With this win, Joe Ryan is 2-1. And the save would end up going to the Twins closer, Emilio Pagan. He would allow no earned runs in the 9th inning as he walked a batter. This would be his very first save of the year. In the Twins batting lineup, their center fielder within this matchup, Nick Gordon, would end up going 2 for 3. With this win, the Minnesota Twins are now 5-8. That is the worst record in the American League Central. They are currently holding the 3rd worst record in the American League, as they've won 4 of their last 10. They trailed the division-leading Cleveland Guardians by 2.5 games at the moment. With this loss, the Kansas City Royals are 5-6. That is the 3rd best record in the American League Central, as they've lost 6 of their last 10. They are sitting a game and a half behind the division-leading Cleveland Guardians. Taking a look at what happened in Oakland, the Athletics would host the Baltimore Orioles, and the A's would end up beating the Orioles 6-4 as the Orioles never had a chance to have a lead in this game. On the losing end of this matchup, the Baltimore Orioles were led out by their starting pitcher, Tyler Wells. Wells would allow 2 earned runs off of 5 hits in 2.1 innings pitched. He would strike out a batter before getting pulled in the 3rd. With this loss, he is now 0-3. In the Orioles batting lineup, the only player who had more than 1 hit was their right fielder on the day, Austin Hayes. Hayes would go 2 for 4 with 2 of the team's 4 RBIs. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Oakland Athletics were led out by their starting pitcher, Paul Blackburn. Blackburn would allow 1 earned run off of 3 hits in the 5 innings he pitched. He would strike out 4 batters, and with this loss, he's 2-0. And the save would go to their closer, Donny Jimenez. Jimenez allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning as he struck out 2 batters. This would be his 2nd save of the year. In the A's batting lineup, their left fielder, Tony Kemp, went 2 for 4 with 2 runs. Their third baseman in this particular matchup, Sheldon Neuse, would go 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run. Their catcher, Sean Murphy, went 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs and a run as he hit his 3rd home run of the season. With this win, the Oakland Athletics are 8-6. That is the 2nd best record in the American League West, as they've won 6 of their last 10. They sit half a game behind the division-leading Los Angeles Angels. With this loss, the Baltimore Orioles are 4-9. That is the worst record in the American League East and the 2nd worst record in the American League. They've lost 6 of their last 10 games as they trailed the division-leading Toronto Blue Jays by 4 full games at the moment. Taking a look at what happened in our nation's capital, the Washington Nationals hosted the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks would end up beating the Nationals 4-3. They would end up breaking the 2-2 tie on the top of the 5th thanks to a 2-run home run from Cooper Hummel. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Washington Nationals were led out by their starting pitcher, Josh Rogers. Rogers would allow 4 earned runs off of 6 hits in 4.1 innings pitched. He would strike out 2 batters and walk 1. With this loss, Josh Rogers is 1-2 for the Nats. In their batting lineup, their catcher, Keibert Ruiz, would go 2 for 4. On the winning end of this matchup, the Arizona Diamondbacks were led out by their starting pitcher, Zach Davies. Zach Davies would allow 2 earned runs off of 2 hits in the 5 innings that he pitched. He would strike out 7 batters and then walk 2. In their batting lineup, their left fielder in this particular matchup, Cooper Hummel, would end up going 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs and a run. He hit his 2nd home run of the season. And then the only other player with more than 1 hit was their shortstop, Geraldo Perdomo. He went 2 for 3 with a run. With this win, the Arizona Diamondbacks are now 5-8. That is currently the worst record in the National League West. They are tied with the Philadelphia Phillies for the 2nd worst record in the National League. The only team with a worse record in the National League than them right now is the Cincinnati Reds, who are currently holding on to a 9-game losing streak. With this loss, the Washington Nationals are 6-9. That is the fourth best record in the National League East, as they've lost their last 2 games and they've lost 6 of their last 10. They trailed the division-leading New York Mets by 4.5 games. Taking a look at what happened in Miami, the Miami Marlins hosted the NL Central leading St. Louis Cardinals. The Marlins would shut the Cardinals out 5-0 to pick up win number 5. On the losing end of this matchup, the St. Louis Cardinals were led out by their starting pitcher, Jordan Hicks. In this matchup, Jordan Hicks would go on to allow 1 earned run off of 2 hits in 3 innings pitched. He would strike out 3 batters and he would walk 2. And with this loss, Hicks is 1-1. In the Cardinals batting lineup, their elite third baseman Nolan Arenado went 3 for 4. He had 3 of the team's 5 hits. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Miami Marlins were led out by their starting pitcher Pablo Lopez. He allowed no earned runs off of 3 hits in the 7 innings that he pitched. He would strike out 9 batters. With this win, he's now 2-0. In the Marlins batting lineup, their center fielder Jesus Sanchez would end up going 2 for 3 with an RBI and 3 runs. He hit his 3rd home run of the year. Their first baseman Jesus Aguilar will go 2 for 4. With this win, the Miami Marlins are 5-7. That is the 3rd best record in the National League East. They've won 4 of their last 10 as they now sit 4 full games behind the division-leading New York Mets. And then, of course, with this loss, the St. Louis Cardinals are 7-4. That is the best record in the National League Central as they've lost 4 of their last 10 after winning their first game of the season. Sitting with a 1 less win and 1 less loss than the Brewers, they and the Brewers sit 2 full games ahead of the Chicago Cubs and the Pittsburgh Pirates, who are tied for the 3rd best record in that division. Speaking of the Pirates and the Cubs would end up falling short to the Pirates at Wrigley 4-3. The Cubs scored the first 3 runs of the game, and the Pirates would just inch close. After the Pirates were trailing by just 1, it would be a 2-run double from Yoshi Tsutsugo to give the Pirates the lead that they would eventually win the game with. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Chicago Cubs were led out by their starting pitcher Mark Leiter Jr. He allowed 2 earned runs off of 3 hits in the 4 innings that he pitched. He struck out 3 batters and walked 2. The loss for the Cubs would go to their first relief pitcher, Ethan Roberts. Roberts would go on to allow 2 earned runs off of 2 hits in .2 innings. He would strike out 2 batters and walk 2 before getting pulled in the very 5th inning he was supposed to pitch. With this loss, he's 0-1. In the Cubs batting lineup, nobody on their team had more than 1 hit. That'll be attributed to great pitching from Pittsburgh. On the losing end of this matchup, on the winning end of this matchup, the Pirates were led off by their starting pitcher Bryce Wilson. Bryce Wilson allowed 3 earned runs off of 3 hits in the 3 innings he pitched. He struck out 2 batters and he walked 4. The win was given to the Pirates' first relief pitcher, Will Crowe. Crowe allowed no earned runs and only 1 hit in 2.1 innings pitched. He would strike out 5 batters before he was pulled in the 6th, and with this win, he's 1-0. The save for the Pirates would go to their closer, Chris Stratton. Stratton allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning as he struck out a batter. This will be his very first save of the year. In the Pirates batting lineup, their left fielder, Ben Gamel, went 3 for 4. He was the only player with more than 1 hit. And with this win, the Pittsburgh Pirates are 6-7. They are tied with the Cubs for the 3rd best record in the National League Central as they've won 5 of their last 10 games. They sit 2 games behind the St. Louis Cardinals and the Milwaukee Brewers on top of the division. And with this loss, the Chicago Cubs are now 6-7. They are holding a 3-game losing streak, and they've lost 6 of their last 10. Alongside the Pirates, they sit 2 full games behind the division-leading St. Louis Cardinals and Milwaukee Brewers. Last but not least, jumping out to Seattle, the Seattle Mariners hosted the Texas Rangers. The Rangers would end up beating the Mariners 8-6 after the Rangers scored 5 runs in the first inning of the game. The Texas Rangers would take the lead in the 5th inning off of a 2-run go-ahead home run from Nick Solak. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Seattle Mariners would actually end up tying the game at 6, and once they sent it into the top of the 9th, it would be a Cole Calhoun double and a Nate Lowe single to give the Rangers the win. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Seattle Mariners were led out by their starting pitcher, Marco Gonzalez. He allowed 6 runs off of 6 hits in the 4.2 innings he pitched. He struck out 6 batters and lost 1 before getting pulled in the 5th inning. The loss would go to their setup relief pitcher, Drew Steckenrider. Drew Steckenrider will go on to allow 2 earned runs off of 2 hits as he started the 9th inning and didn't finish. He would strike out a batter and walk 1, and with this loss, he's 0-1. In the Mariners batting lineup, their first baseman Ty France went 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run. He hit his 3rd home run of the season. On the winning end of this matchup, the Texas Rangers were led out by their starting pitcher, Taylor Hearn. Taylor Hearn allowed 5 earned runs off of 4 hits in the 3 innings he pitched. He would strike out 4 batters and walk 4. The win for the Rangers would go to their closer, Joe Barlow. Barlow allowed no earned runs in 1.1 innings pitched as he finished off the 8th inning and pitched the entire 9th. He would strike out 2 batters and walk 1. With this win, Joe Barlow is 1-0. And in the Rangers batting lineup, their first baseman, Nate Lau, went 3 for 5 with an RBI and a run. Also, their center fielder within this particular matchup, Eli White, would go 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. With this win, the Texas Rangers are 3-9. That is the worst record in the American League East, and that is still the worst record in the American League. The only team with a worse record than them in baseball is the Cincinnati Reds. The Texas Rangers have won 3 of their last 10 games. They sit 4.5 games behind the division-leading Los Angeles Angels at the moment. With this loss, the Seattle Mariners are 7-6. That is the 3rd best record in the American League West. They've lost 5 of their last 10 games. They sit a full game behind the division-leading Los Angeles Angels at the moment. But that is what the MLB is looking like following yesterday's matchups. Today is Friday, so looking at what's going to be going on today, there are going to be no primetime games and no double headers. Starting from the very top at 2:20 in Wrigley Field, Drew Smyly and the Chicago Cubs are going to host Jose Quintana and the Pittsburgh Pirates. At 6:40, Hunter Green and the Cincinnati Reds are going to host Steven Matz and the St. Louis Cardinals in Cincinnati. At 7:05 in Yankee Stadium, Jameson Taillon and the New York Yankees are going to host the Cleveland Guardians, as the Guardians are holding the best record in the American League Central at the moment. At 7:05 in Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia, the Ranger Suarez and the Philadelphia Phillies are going to host Freddie Peralta and the Milwaukee Brewers. At the same time, at 7:05 in Nationals Park, Patrick Corbin and the Washington Nationals are going to host the reigning regular season champs of last year, the San Francisco Giants. At 7:10, Corey Kluber and the Tampa Bay Rays are going to host Michael Wacha and the Boston Red Sox in Tropicana Field. At 7:10 in Comerica Park in Detroit, Tarek Skubal and the Detroit Tigers are going to host Antonio Senzatella and the Colorado Rockies. At 7:20 in Truist Park, Kyle Wright and the defending World Series champs Atlanta Braves are going to host Trevor Rogers and the Miami Marlins. At 8:10, Bailey Ober and the Minnesota Twins are going to host Michael Kopech and the Chicago White Sox. At the same time, the Houston Astros, led by their goated starting pitcher Justin Verlander, are going to host Ross Stripling and the AL East leading Toronto Blue Jays. Justin Verlander enters this matchup with a 1-1 record, holding a 0.69 ERA. At 9:38, Reed Detmers and the AL West leading Los Angeles Angels are going to host Bruce Zimmerman and the Baltimore Orioles, who are sitting at the bottom of the AL East. At 9:40, Chris Flexen and the Seattle Mariners are going to host Brad Keller and the Kansas City Royals. At 9:40, Nick Martinez and the San Diego Padres are going to host Julio Urias and the LA Dodgers, who hold the best record in the MLB win percentage-wise. At the same time, at 9:40, Zach Gallen and the Arizona Diamondbacks are going to host the New York Mets, as the Mets are the only team going into today with a double-digit amount of wins. And then last but not least, at 9:40 on Apple TV+, Adam Oller and the Oakland Athletics are going to host Glenn Otto and the Texas Rangers. So that's what's going on, at least within that league. Taking a look at what's going on in the world of soccer as we leave the American continent. The big matchups that really took place overseas took place in Spain, as Sevilla and Barcelona were each able to pick up pretty solid wins and move over Atletico Madrid. The team that's sitting right now that's sitting number 2 in Spain is Barcelona, as they sit 15 points behind first place Real Madrid with 1 game in hand. They were able to beat Real Sociedad 1-0 with a goal from their Gabonese striker Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang in the 11th minute. They are now sitting there as they hold a 7-goal advantage over third place Sevilla. Sevilla was able to beat Levante 3-2 as they scored 2 goals in the first half. And then their goal in the second half would put them up by 2 Levante scored the last goal of the game. And with this win, Sevilla is sitting even with Barcelona for the second best record in La Liga, but they're right now sitting third. They have one more win than Barca, and they have one more game played than Barca, and Barca still has the goal advantage on them. But Sevilla sits now 2 points ahead of fourth place Atletico Madrid, as that is how it's looking at the moment. But those were the big matchups that really shaped the table yesterday. Taking a look at what is going on today, there's not that much big football going on, as the big matchup that's going to be taking place will be in Germany as Wolfsburg faces off against Mainz. And even looking at where these teams are faring, neither these two teams are even within the top 8 in Germany. So that's pretty much all I have for you today for Friday, April 22nd, 2022. I want to thank everybody for listening, and I do, of course, apologize for all the names that I butchered along the way. I do plan on getting them right. Once all of today's exhibitions and matchups are done, I'm going to come back tomorrow on Saturday, April 23rd for another episode of The Elite. So until then, I want to thank everyone for listening. I hope all is well, and I will come back tomorrow with another episode. Thanks for listening to my piece. I hope all is well, and peace out. I will catch you with more then.